shine, some see none. Poison running through their veins, something coming. Run. Bloody paw prints, muddy footsteps, broken windows, smoke in the distance. Event horizon, reset. Set the flagpole straight through your chest. Forget weapons, protect. All your gunshots have no effect. Evil beasts let loose in the streets. A gnashing of teeth, don't fall asleep. Mothers weep, those alive seek death. People feed on the dead, eat rats and the insects. Locusts swarm and erupt from the pit. They nest in the darkest abyss without rest, awaiting the time of their torment. Cities flee to the hills and the caves lying dormant. They gaze at the signs, unfazed by the cries, inviting the anger, enticed by the lies. Outside of the gates, they protest and rage. No place to escape, they dig their own graves. Afraid of the sound of the fluttering wings, the pain of the sting, the torment it brings. They linger and eat, they sink in their teeth. They pray for the day they will die and the angels will sing. Escape all the agony brought from the skies, aligned with the sign of the end of the times. It's all been recorded, the mark on the forehead, the Passover blood of the Lamb on the doorstep, unfolding the plan, the falling of man, the hourglass broken and pouring out sand. The skies turning black from the scorpion's trap, the wrath of the rapture, the message has passed. The last fleeting moments are coming to pass, so fast it will capture the masses and trap. With the instant collapse of all structures, all towers invoked by the powers we trusted, the hands of these bloodthirsty dead, the dark evil masters whose dastardly deeds have been blasted and grafted through laws they've enacted. Black rapid backstabbers, masters of misinformation, entrapment and twisting the facts through crafty persuasion, invasion of privacy, big brother tactics enacted for all of humanity, casually crushing our rights and just vanishing, wasted away into nothing, awaiting for something, for someone to stand in the gap, react to these actions, the clash of the titans, the one final battle and peace between lamb and the lion.
By Destiny Labs. Hi everybody. I have not been on live in I think a year or something like that. I'm in my new house. I'll give everybody a tour when it's light out again. Hi Jill, Dorothy, Tammy, Connie, how are you? Anyone else I didn't see in the chat? Mic check. Somebody let me know if I am echoey or if it's coming in okay. It's 9:42 p.m. Eastern time. I'm tired, but I actually was just going to do this in the morning, but I have it all set up to share what I'm going to share with you guys tonight, so I'm just going to do the show. We're going to jump around a little bit to different books. I have the Epistle of Barnabas, the Ascension of Isaiah, the Testament of Solomon, the Gospel of Bartholomew, the Gospel of Nicodemus, and I also have out the regular canon, and in Revelation and also in the book of Jude. So we're also going to be jumping over to the Super Gospel, so we can go through just some of the things that match from the Dissensus Latin A and B. Speaking about when Jesus goes down to the underworld and defeats Satan and death, and what they have to say about him, what Satan and death have to say about him, as well as what they have to say about Enoch and different things like that. So we're going to go through all these different things. Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, I know like it's not possible for us to discuss all of the world events that are happening right now. But I don't know. Where is it? Oh, hold on a bit. So, my TikTok channel, sorry, I'm going to share the screen. I put this picture up on, I don't know if you can see that pretty good, but I've shown you guys this before, but that looks a lot like the city in Maui to me. If you look at the picture that matches it, that I did the video with on somebody else had filmed Maui right before the fires, and it literally looks just like that picture. The skyline is it's like almost exact to me, and I did that picture in 2019, so it's crazy. But I mean, even if it's not the city, that specific city, there's a lot of different cities that are on fire right now, all across the United States, which is the first time it's ever been that bad, in my opinion. But yeah, let's go through just some of the stuff to start off the show. Tonight we're going to be talking about Enoch and Elijah being the two witnesses. This is one book you can get of Enoch by Mr. Lumpkin, and then also this is Zen's version that he edited himself. Sacred Word Publishing and Amazon, I think. Also, this, The Great Contest by Zen Garcia, has on page 206 and 204, 205, 206, 207 seems to be Zen grouped together some of the things mentioning the Antichrist and Enoch and Elijah. So just real quick, as I open that, it says, on that day, the heart of many will harden and they will flee from him, saying, and they're talking about the Antichrist, this is not the Christ. The Christ does not kill the righteous. He doesn't pursue men so that he might seek them, but he persuades them with signs and wonders. On that day, the Christ will pity those who are his own, and he will send from heaven his 64,000 angels, of each of whom has 6 wings. The sound will move heaven and earth when they give praise and glorify. Now those who upon whose forehead the name of Christ is written, and upon whose hand is the seal, both the small and the great, will be taken up upon their wings and lifted up before his wrath. So the reason it was talking right there about the heart of many will harden is because it says, and they will rise up and find a place of rest, but they will not be in the kingdom of God. And that's talking about, this is important too, I'm going to read this part. So it says, these are the tortures of the people, the Christians that are on the earth being tortured by the Antichrist. It says, the shameless one will hear and he will be angry and fight them, and the whole city will surround them. He's talking about Enoch and Elijah. And this is from the Gospel of Nicodemus. You can read it right there for yourself. He's talking about Enoch and Elijah. Focus, kind of. Thank you, Dorothy. And so, hey guys, I'm like, tonight, I know I haven't done a show in a long time, but tonight is some of the most epic info I've probably ever read, because I've been collecting it to do this for a long time, and I just was like, life, you know what I mean? And I didn't have time, and it's not an excuse, and I hope God forgives me for not continuing. I've been doing TikToks and stuff because it's all I had time for, but bear with me, it's going to be good. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so this is what's going to happen to the Christians that are on the earth going through the tribulation, and the Antichrist is in full power and he's torturing Christians right now. Okay, I'm just saying, I told you I had a dream that Jesus protects us in these times, but I don't think that the rapture is the way that people are portraying it to be. And I know tons of children and people are having dreams that Jesus just snatches us out of here, but you'll notice that the Antichrist has not been revealed yet, and a lot of movies in Hollywood are pointing at September 23rd as a meteor strike upon the earth. I mean, the movie Greenland just came out not that long ago, and anytime they put movies out like that, it's just because they have to, because they believe in karma and dharma, and if they show you, then they're not responsible for the things that you're too ignorant to realize, and that's how they think. So hold on. But in a second, if I have time before the end of the show, I'll show you. It's like 400, 40 or 50 movies in the past that have had September 23rd is the date when there's an actual, they all are the same thing about a meteor shower. So it's like weird. But it makes you think, like, right, this is how I think. If there's ever been a time where people could get away with all the things, like, you know, I'm talking like the president and everybody, like, and all the stuff on the island and all that stuff, like, if all these celebrities and presidential people and all that, if it was ever a time where they needed a way to get out of something, or if they were ever planning on something coming in the future that would allow them to do whatever they wanted and get away with it, because once the thing comes, whatever it is, it's going to wipe it all out. So it was like they never did anything. You see what I'm saying? And I've felt that way for a long time, but I could be wrong. That's just how I think. So at the beginning it says, then when Elijah and Enoch hear that the shameless one has revealed himself in the holy place, they will come down and fight with him, saying, are you not indeed ashamed when you attach yourself to the saints, because you are always estranged? You have been hostile to those who belong to heaven. You have acted against those belonging to the earth. You have been hostile to the thrones. You have acted against the angels. You are always a stranger. You have fallen from heaven like the morning stars. And that right there, so just so we're clear, you have fallen from heaven like the morning stars. That's pretty much what Jesus was saying when he was it's pretty much what Jesus was saying when he said, I beheld Satan falling as lightning from the heights, which is Barak, B-A-R-A-Q, Obama. That's what that says in Hebrew. But the argument is that it would have been written in Aramaic because that was the colloquial language of the time or whatever. So, and that's what that I said, that guy that was the head of the museum, when I called him and asked him, and he was super like professional and blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as I said what I just said, he swore at me. And I was like, wicked, like, I was like, what? And it was just like super strange. And you know what? I know another thing I just want to throw out there real quick that I noticed recently, and it might be so like crazy, right? But when you look at the dances that they did at CERN, there's a very, very unique style of dancing that they did at CERN. This same dancing is done at Masonic rituals. And if you look at the movie Mario Brothers, which predicted 9/11 happening in the background at the end of the movie, with John Leguizamo and the other guy's like an English actor, I forget his name, but he plays Mario and the other guy's Luigi. John Leguizamo is Luigi. It's like, it used to be one of my favorite movies when I was a kid, but in this movie there's a split, so that there's a reality where the lizard people live, and then there's a reality, which is our reality, where the ape people live, because they're trying to push like evolution, right, in this thing. But if you think about it, it's talking about two bloodlines, right? Twin towers, two bloodlines. Now there's one tower, and it happens to look like something that, you know, doctors use when you are drawing blood, in my opinion. So, and Obama, the Antichrist, signed it. We will blah blah blah. We will blah blah blah. And we will blah blah blah, because it's 666 is we, and that's www, same as a website. And what he said on that is what Nimrod said when God destroyed Babel and they went to rebuild it again. And so, like I said 1,000 times, and like people don't get it, is they didn't go into Iraq for the oil or the gold. They went in to get the stone that fell out of Satan's crown that had information on it. And when they got that, it allowed them to do the magic needed, which is why all the mummy movies came out in 2000 when they were invading Iraq, because they have to show you that stuff so that they don't get in trouble with karma and dharma, which is what they live like. That's their religion to them, because they worship Satan, because that's their father, like Jesus said to the Pharisees, right? So, sorry, tangent, I'm done, okay? But, so, it says, you are a devil. The shameless one, I'm just going to start saying Obama. Obama will hear, and he will be angry, and he will fight with them in the marketplace of the great city, and he will spend 7 days fighting with them, and they will spend 3½ days in the marketplace dead, while all the people see them. But on the 4th day, they will rise up, and they will scold him, saying, O shameless one, O son of lawlessness, Are you indeed not ashamed of yourself, since you are leading astray the people of God, for whom you did not suffer? Do you not know that we live in the Lord? As the words were spoken, they prevailed over him, saying, furthermore, we will lay down before the flesh for the spirit, and we will kill you, since you are unable to speak on that day, because we are always strong in the Lord, but you are always hostile to God. The shameless one will hear, and he will be angry and fight them, and the whole city will surround them. On that day they will shout up to heaven as they shine, while all people of the world see them. So if all people of the world saw them, that means there's still television at that time, if you can picture that. There's some means of communication where everything is able to be seen all at once. So whatever catastrophe happens in the world, they build it back up, so the technology is back to its like previous advancement. Does that make sense if I said that right? On that day they will shout up to heaven as they shine, while all the people of the world see them. The son of lawlessness will not prevail over them. He will be angry at the land, and he will seek to sin against the people. He will pursue all of the saints. See, he will pursue all of the saints. When Enoch and Elijah come, he will pursue all the saints. Does that mean that we are all gone? So if all of current churchianity, I don't mean that disrespectfully, they have been blinded, and Jesus allowed them to be blinded so that for a short amount of time, which ends now, people will think there's only two testaments. But Jesus said to Satan, man doesn't live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God. So every word is what I'm reading to you tonight. Every word, not just some, not the ones you like because they're acceptable, some. So all those churchianity people, you're telling me that they're just gonna out of here. And who are these saints? Are they just 144,000 that are still here? Or like are there certain people that came to Christ and then they become so who taught those people once all the Christians, boom, are gone, like in the rapture? Who's teaching the rest of the world? Who is here to help all of the people in this world to bring about that great harvest? Who is going to take the testament, the third testament, the testament of the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit? Who's going to take that to the world is my question, if all the Christians are raptured out of here. That's just, I don't understand. And this has been my issue all along, because I told you I dreamed of us being saved somehow in a supernatural way with angels protecting us. But I also have read these books that say that we are going to be here until the end. So I'm just being a student with you all so that we can read this together and maybe come up with a conclusion of it, because I can't shake it. But obviously the rapture is not the conversation of tonight, but it's going to come into play because everything we're talking about tonight is apocalyptic, basically. All right, so this is like going to get nuts. So the shameless one will hear, and he will be angry and fight them, and the whole city will surround them. They will pursue all the saints, and the priests of the land will be brought back bound. He will kill them and destroy them, and their eyes will be removed with iron spikes. He will remove their skin from their heads, which happened to Bartholomew, I believe. They flayed him alive. He will command that vinegar and lime be put in their nose, and that's very painful. Now those who are unable to bear up under the torches of that king will take gold and flee over the fords to the desert places. And this verse is what I told outside the four walls in the past. Do not put your faith in money, gold or silver, Bitcoin, anything. Because if you do that, this is what Jesus says. Those who take gold and flee over the fords to the desert places, they will lie down as one who sleeps. The Lord will receive their spirits, so he's not going to reject you. But he'll take their spirits and their souls to himself, and their flesh will petrify. No wild animals will eat them until the last day of the great judgment. So, hold on a second, I'm just reading it. All right. And they will rise up and find a place of rest, but they will not be in the kingdom of Christ as those who have endured because of the Lord. See, that's what it says. That's why Paul says, give comfort to your fellow Christian so you can endure until the end. Jesus always says, we're here till the end, right? It doesn't mean he's not going to supernaturally protect us at certain points along the way, because if he didn't, what flesh would be saved if he didn't come for us, right? It says that. But, 1 second. I will grant to them that they sit on my right hand. They will receive favor over others, and they will triumph over the son of lawlessness. And this is speaking of the people that do endure and do wait till the end and go through the tortures. They will sit at Jesus's right hand in the seventh heaven at God's throne forever with him. Like that, I don't think anybody realizes what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. This person that we all love, like whoever, whatever he looks like to you in your head. I know this is probably like the perfect example, but this is what I'm talking about. Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the Son of the living God that came down here, and Satan and death were afraid of him. That's what I'm talking about. And they will witness the dissolution of heaven and earth. I was just talking to a kid about this today. They will receive the thrones of glory and the crowns. The 60 righteous ones who are prepared for this hour will hear. And this is interesting. So there are 60 people in the world, probably at this time, 60 righteous ones who are prepared for this hour and hear. They will gird on the breastplate of Yahuwah, and they will run to Jerusalem and fight with the shameless one, saying, all powers which the prophets have done from the beginning you have done, but you were unable to raise the dead because you have no power to give life. Therein we have known that you are the son of lawlessness. He will hear and he will be angry and command to kindle altars, and the righteous ones will be bound, and they will be lifted up and burned. And on that day the heart of many will harden, and they will flee from him, saying that, and this is where I was reading before, you are not the Christ. The Christ does not kill the righteous. He does not pursue men so that he might seek them, but he persuades them with signs and wonders. On that day, the Christ will pity those who are his own. And then it says, and he will send from heaven his 64,000 angels, of whom has 6 wings, and the sound will move heaven and earth when they give praise and glorify. Now those upon whose forehead the name of Christ is written, upon whose hand is the seal, both the small and the great, will be taken up upon their wings and lifted up before his wrath. Then Gabriel and Uriel will become a pillar of light, leading them into the Holy Land. It will be granted to them to eat from the tree of life, and they will wear white garments. That's important. Remember the white garments. And angels will watch over them. They will not thirst, nor will the son of lawlessness be able to prevail over them. On that day, the earth will be disturbed, and the sun will darken, and the peace will be removed from the earth. The birds will fall on the earth dead. The earth will be dry. The waters of the sea will dry up. The whole ocean is going to dry up. The sinners will groan upon the earth, saying, what have you done to us, O son of lawlessness, saying, I am the Christ, when you're a devil? You are unable to save yourself, so that you might save us. You produced signs in our presence until you alienated us from the Christ who created us. Woe to us, because we have listened to you. What they just said, woe to us because we have listened to you, that's the same thing the demons say when they're talking about they wish they didn't listen to Satan when they fell. There's people that are like casting out demons, and they're like screaming, and they're saying, we shouldn't have listened to him. We shouldn't have listened to him. I gave it all up. Like, and it's something Jesus' Lord said too before, is that he felt pity on the demons when he saw them, because they're so filled with hate for us. They're so filled with hate for us because they fell, and we have a chance at redemption because of Christ. And that's why everything you see, every single thing is just to blind you to the fact that Jesus Christ is really God. He really loves you. He's right above you, and hell is right below you. And you're stuck in the middle, and you're fighting a war against enemies that you cannot see. And that is the great contest. That's what we're living through right now. And you can care about politics if you really want to. You can care about the things of this world if you really want to. But legit, besides food, water, shelter, we should all be just in this. We should just be in the Word all day, every day. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect at what I'm saying, but we should be. If Jesus is coming that soon, and they're already outlawing Bibles and preaching in the street and doing all these things right now, we don't have a lot of time left to absorb all of this knowledge, because like we can get something done in like an hour that might take us 10 hours later, because we have to run for our lives or whatever is going to be happening, if you understand what I'm saying. But I kind of don't know where to start, because this is going to just kind of have to flow. So hopefully Jesus will help us with this, because there's a lot of stuff to cover. But hold on one second. Let me just show you something real quick, because it's only a little thing. So this is from Psalms 148. Psalms 148 from the King James Bible. And it says, "Praise the Lord from the earth, ye dragons and all deeps." So, praise the Lord from the earth, ye dragons and all deeps. What does that mean? All the creatures in the ocean and all the dragons. And this is David that said that, okay? One second. This is from Pseudo Matthew 18:22. The Infancy Gospel of Thomas in the Latin, I believe, and the HJC. I don't know what that is. I'm in the Super Gospel right now. Hold on a second. I always like to tell you where I got stuff from, so if somebody wants to go check it, you can go check it. And it's important that you go check this, what I'm saying right now. And if it, oh, it's okay, Don. I don't know if it does or not. HJC, one second. Oh, the history of Joseph the Carpenter. So this is from the history of Joseph the Carpenter. Oh no, is it? Yeah, hold on a second. What's like that? And I think this is like super important, because everybody's like, if you're talking to just some, like I talk to my friends and they don't believe in God at all at work. I drive with them every day, probably drive them crazy. Kyle and Charlie, sorry for driving you nuts all the time, but you'll appreciate it later when all this actually happens and you remember what I told you about Jesus. But we talk about dragons, you talk about demons, you talk about ghosts, talk about things like that, and you tell them what these things really are. That's when people get interested in Christ, because they have experienced things like that in their own life, and they don't want to die like and go to hell, because they've seen the world and how it's going right now. Hey, Jill. So believe it or not, the more you like like they make fun of me straight up all day long, make fun of me saying I'm a conspiracy theorist, like honestly, a lot of times they take the Lord's name in vain. Like when I say stuff, they're like, "Oh, here we go," and they'll say JC or whatever, and I'm like, and I pray for them and say, God, forgive them for doing it, because someday people can actually escape the fires of hell if we pray for them, and you can believe that or you don't have to believe it. But I believe Jesus Christ is so amazing that he loves us so much that he's like, I know that you love that person and that's your friend, and I don't want them to have to suffer anymore either. But they look what they did in their life, you know it, but he still wants you to pray for them so that they can leave hell. Because like we can talk about this on here, but we're not supposed to tell this to like most people, because they'll just sin all the more. It says in the Super Gospel, but hell's 1,000 years, basically. For most people, hell's 1,000 years. It's not like here though. Most people will live 100 years on this earth. Half of that you're healthy, half of it you're dying, like horrible, like sick and not healthy or whatever. You know what I mean? Like basically, and that's 100 years. So 100 years times 10, and you're in hell with Satan, demons, tortures, snow, ice, hail, rivers of blood, rivers of piss, rivers of bile, mucus, scorpions that make you burst into a million pieces, flesh-eating monsters that eat the people that had abortions, like smithies that like have tongs like for making weapons, and like they take your human soul and they smash it to bits, and then they put it somewhere else and they cut it up in pieces and smash it to bits. And this whole time you're being burned by 7 different types of fire. Not only that, you're totally separated from God's love, which you wish that you could have, because right before you go there, you see what his love would have been. And on top of that, everybody in hell, even though it's pitch black, you can see Satan. And that is one of the worst tortures of hell, because he's so disgusting looking. And we're going to talk about that. Yeah, so I'll read it to you right now. Sorry, whenever I like look for stuff, I have like the Jeopardy theme song or something in my head. Watch too many game shows. Let's see. That's so funny. I'm reading like the last page of the Super Gospel, and it says, this is what we're talking about tonight. "O you princes, open the gates." And that's from the Ascension of Isaiah, and that's what we're talking about, the brass gates that Jesus destroys, and like how he defeats Satan and death type of stuff tonight. Hold on one second. I'm not going to be able to find it. Oh, so this is from the Apocalypse of Peter, the Sibylline Oracles, and the Book of Jude, which is funny because all of those are going to be talked about tonight, because the Sibylline Oracles are actually mentioned in the archaeological Bible that I have right here, because the Book of Jude has the most explanations and apologetics in the entire Bible that I have right here, because they know that in the Book of Jude it mentions Enoch, and they have to defend that by saying, oh, Jude had nothing to do with Enoch, he was just mentioning it offhandedly, it had nothing to do with it. Yeah, sure, go listen to Robert Farrell's recent discussion that he just had. In fact, we might even play it tonight. I don't know, we're already at 30 minutes, but it literally takes 10 minutes to or the whole thing's 20 minutes, and he's in front of a whole church, and he's telling you like he's breaking the Bible down for you. Like, the key to open the Bible is Jude, because he says in Jude, Enoch's a prophet, 7th from Adam. He's telling you he's a prophet. He's telling you where he's from. He's antediluvian, and he's saying that he prophesied, so that makes him a prophet. And not only does it make him a prophet, but Enoch is one of the 2 witnesses, which we're going to talk about tonight also. One second. Okay, there we go. And this is towards the end of the Super Gospel on page. If you guys want to read this and find out about hell for yourselves, just so you don't have to feel so bad about your loved ones, or like openly worshiping the devil, practicing whatever lifestyle abominations they want to, and you have no control over what they do for their choice. You witness them all the time, you love them, you pray for them, and they just won't change. This is your hope, okay? Page 352 of the Super Gospel, and as I said, it comes from the Sinners Released from Hades, the Apocalypse of Peter, the Sibylline Oracles, and Jude. And it says in the archaeological Bible that, one second. Oh yeah, here we go. Anyways, it's like somewhere in this, the Bible and the pseudepigraphal literature. It's on that page right there. I'll show it to you in a second. But this is Jesus talking. There will moreover exist at that time neither the common nor the eminent, neither sovereign nor head of state, for all will be on the same level with one another. And this is talking about heaven. It will no longer be said that night has fallen, or that something will happen tomorrow, or that something happened yesterday. Nor will there be days to think about it all. Neither will there be any spring or summer, buying or selling, dusk or dawn. Nor will he make it all as one long day. Hold on. Oh. For he will make it one long day. To all of these, his righteous ones, the eternal God who governs all, will grant them something further still. This is the moment right here, guys. And I'm mentioning this because somebody asked it in the comments. When they ask him to rescue mankind from the unquenchable fire and perpetual grinding of teeth, he will give them what they long for. And I say definitively that at that time I will give them what they long for. I will deliver out of torment whomsoever my righteous and elect ones should ask of me. Be compassionate to those who doubt, but others you must drag from the fire, despising even the garment that is tainted by the flesh. That's quoting Paul to tell you that that is true. And if anyone should cry to me in their affliction, I will grant them to God. Behold, he will himself pluck them from the undying fire and set them in another place, even into another eternal realm, where they will live forever with the immortal ones. Then I will give my righteous and elect ones the precious baptism and the salvation for which they have pleaded with me, there in that deep, abiding Archersian lake, where he has broad waves, and which is referred to by men as the Elysian fields. And all of this for the sake of his own, and their portion will be with my righteous ones, who will be adorned with flowers, and I will go to them and rejoice with them. Then I will travel on to my eternal realm, exulting with the patriarchs and my elect, and I will fulfill the promises that my heavenly Father and I have made to them. The Gentiles also will I cause to enter my eternal realm, for my Father and I will reveal all that I have promised to give to them in all of its eternity. And I forgot to preface this video that my jaw's freaking killing me, and it hurts to talk. So if I'm slurring, yeah, me too. That's funny, Jamie. So yeah, if I sound funny, that's why. Wait a minute. Dang it. So this is from the Apocalypse of Elijah, totally different book. It says, on that day Yahuwah will judge the heaven and the earth, and he will judge those who transgress in heaven and those who did so on the earth. He will judge the shepherds of the people. He will ask about the flock of sheep, and they will be given to him without any deadly guile existing in them. After these things, Elijah and Enoch will come down. They will lay down the flesh of the world, and they will receive their spiritual flesh. They will pursue the son of lawlessness and kill him, since he is not able to speak. On that day he will dissolve in their presence like ice which was dissolved by a fire. He will perish like a serpent which has no breath in it. They will say to him, your time has passed by for you. Now therefore you and those who believe you will perish, for they will be cast into the bottom of the abyss, and it will be closed for them. On that day the Christ the King and all his saints will come forth from heaven, and he will burn the earth. He will spend 1,000 years upon it. Because the sinners prevailed over it, he will create a new heaven and a new earth, and no deadly devil will exist in them. He will rule saints ascending and descending, while they are always with the angels, and they are with the Christ for 1,000 years. I say this like so many times, I cannot even fathom it. Jacob's ladder, the whatever takes you up into heaven and back down, which is most likely right above Mount Meru, the magnetic mountain at the polar north at Polaris. If it is through that, you go up and down from earth to heaven. So we will have the ability to go back and forth. It just said that. I tell people this all the time, like, nah, we're not. We're just getting raptured and we're gonna be in heaven forever. You know, like I don't know if people like read the Bible. Like I don't know. I don't. The Apocalypse of Daniel 25 through 27. When he is strengthened, he will seduce even the elect. He will kill the two prophets, Enoch and Elijah, so that for 3.5 days they will be dead in the public places. Then the Ancient of Days will bring them back to life. Revelation of St. John the Theologian. And then I shall send forth Enoch and Elias, which is Elijah, to convict him. And they shall show him to be a liar and a deceiver. Okay, so that's Revelation of St. John the Theologian is 1. Apocalypse of Daniel is 2. Apocalypse of Elijah is 3. Gospel of Nicodemus is 4. That's 4 witnesses. And it says in the Bible that out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses will a matter be established. So that means that Enoch and Elijah are the 2 witnesses. So, boom, slam dunk on that. Now I want you guys to listen to this because it's important as we go into the next part that's coming up. So it says, I've read this page before, but this is probably one of the most telling and important pages of anything you're ever going to read in the canon. And so this is from this Bible, the Archaeological Study Bible, and I'm telling you, it is amazing info in this Bible. Like, but they have a lot of doctrinal things incorrectly. So right in the side thing over here, it says, right on the page where Jude is, because it's only 25 verses of the Bible, it says, Azazel taught people to make swords and weapons and shields and breastplates and showed them mines in the working of them and bracelets. And this is all from Enoch. And then it says at the bottom, how demons taught arts and crafts to humans according to 1 Enoch, from 1 Enoch 8, 1 through 4. See the Bible pseudepigraphal literature article, which is on the very next page. So you go over to here and it says, Jude, pseudepigrapha, meaning false title, refers to Jewish books that falsely claim to have been written by Moses, Enoch, Abraham, or some other ancient hero of the faith. Most pseudepigrapha were written between 250 BC and AD 200. A few examples are as follows. The Testaments of the 12 Patriarchs. This is so ridiculous. The Testament of the 12 Patriarchs is literally like Abraham had Ishmael and Isaac. Then Isaac had Jacob and Esau, and then Jacob had 12 sons, right? And that's like the tribes of Israel. Am I right with that? Because like I forget the Old Testament stuff sometimes. So I read it a lot, but like I read it in Jubilees and I read it like other places. So sometimes I screw stuff up. So if you like go and read the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, some of the stuff in there is so wise, like it only could have came from God, number one. Number two, some of the stuff that they say in there is not stuff that I would have told my like best friend. Like I think Levi, one of the brothers, he's like, yeah, I slept with like somebody I shouldn't have that was like his mom or his sister or his cousin, or he lusted after his mother or something like that, just like what happened with Noah and his son. When he saw his nakedness, it means the son slept with his mother, so God cursed Canaan or whatever. So the son did that, and then his hand shrivels up for like 7 months, and then his dad has to pray for him for it to get normal again. I wouldn't put that in a book. Like there's stuff in it. It's just like, it's gotta be that. Because it's even the way that it's written is the way that the people of the time spoke, the way that the things that they cared about. Like, for instance, today we'd say like my laptop or my computer or my desktop or my speakers or my I don't know, whatever, modern things. They're all the things they talk about. It's not like they're talking about things that are not of the time or of the land. Like, it's not somebody who has time to entirely like make up these books and these stories that have all the keys of the Spirit in them, and they match all the other books that they took out. Obviously, there's some jerks that are at like the Catholic tribunals, and they're like, nope, that one says you shouldn't worship idols. Nope, we can't have that because we like worshiping our idols. Like, you see what I'm saying? And then Martin Luther comes in and he's like, no, stop, get rid of all these books. And he's like, yeah, we did it, 66 books. And Jesus the whole time is like, I knew you were gonna crucify me, but I had a plan. Don't worry. Like, we're gonna bury this stuff and all of my guys and stuff that you put on Patmos and killed and murdered and threw off the temple. All my 12 disciples. It's cool. They know what's going on. I told them about it. You guys will do your thing. You try to do your thing, and you're all gonna die. And we're gonna take your books and we're gonna bury them just like they buried my body, and we're gonna give them to the people at the end, the elect, who will be living in the days when the wicked and ungodly will be removed, which is Enoch's prophecy. So, lo and behold, somebody born in 1982 who is now 41 years old is teaching you about books that are in English that we can get at the drop of a hat. I've downloaded all of this for free off the internet. And why? Because I knocked. I was like, hey, Jesus, I think there's something else going on. Hey, what's up? Like, I don't understand. This doesn't make sense. Hebrew Israelites are saying one thing. All these Baptists are saying another thing. These denominations are, saying these other things. What do I do? I really didn't expect the answer, to be honest. I just didn't. And the first thing that I learned was that there was a book called the Acts of Thomas, where Thomas, the disciple, goes to India. And I was like thinking back in Christian school, and I'm like, when I was in Christian school, they didn't even tell you where the 12 disciples went when they were told to go preach the gospel in the world. You have no idea where they went. So what happened to that? They go from like Acts and all that and stuff, like Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, and then they go to Paul's writings, and they don't give you any idea what happened to the rest of the disciples. And that might be something that you could say that's not true, or like, perhaps they just, didn't write books about what they did with their lives or anything like that. Maybe they weren't poets. Maybe they weren't writers of big documents. But I've been told by God that the Holy Spirit writes books through people that are carpenters and fishermen and like not that smart. So if God says that that's what's going on, I'm going to believe him. I'm going to believe that he gave his disciples books to write, and all of them wrote books, because it says after Jesus died, we the disciples were all crammed in a room writing down what happened in our point of view and what he told us, because he told the disciples all different things and the same thing. So they're all like, oh, what did he tell you? What did he tell you? And they're all like writing it down. Where's all those writings? Did they get rid of them? No, they didn't get rid of them. They buried them in the ground. They didn't just like have the decency to burn them. They're like, hide everything. Hide everything. These people can't see the disciples' writings. Hold on a second. It might seem ridiculous that I'm going through the back of my Bible right now, but I promise you it's for a purpose. This is a kind of cool though. In the back of this Bible, it tells you like the parables of Jesus, the miracles of Christ, the discourses of Jesus. It tells you all the miracles recorded in the Old Testament. Like, it tells you all the different things. But you know what? Not actually all of them, because they removed all the infancy gospel and that stuff. Hold on a second. 34. All right, here we go. Okay. I just found this when I was reading with Jackie before I was doing the show. I was going through a bunch of different texts, and I was reading in the back of this Bible. And sorry, it's like 9,000 degrees in my house right now. So this is the 12 original apostles. Listen, I'm going to read you what it says about every single one. Peter, originally called Simon, son of Jonas, occupation of fisherman, about the same age as Christ. Probably suffered martyrdom at Rome with Paul. He was hung upside down on a cross and refused to be crucified the way Jesus was because he said he wasn't worthy enough for that. That's not what that says. Andrew, brother of Peter, same occupation, said to have been crucified at Petrae in Achaia on a cross shaped like an X, hence St. Andrew's cross. James, son of Zebedee, a fisherman, put to death in AD 44 by Herod Agrippa. John, younger brother of James, same occupation, driven to Patmos, lived to a great age and died, the last of the apostles as late as AD 99 or 100. Philip of Bethsaida. Okay, this is Philip, right? Philip of Bethsaida. History uncertain before and after his calling. What? Literally, the Nag Hammadi Codices has the Gospel of Philip in it, and it tells you like a ton of the answers that are in the Gospel of Thomas, or like vice versa. It's like, you know how in Jeopardy you like they tell you like the answer and you just say the question or whatever it would be. It's like that. It's like read Gospel of Thomas, read the Gospel of Philip. But this says they don't have any idea what happened to him before and after. That's garbage. It's absolute garbage. Okay, Bartholomew. Super important that people understand that Bartholomew even was one of the 12 disciples, because for me, sometimes I forget their names, but if you know their books and what their books say, it helps you to remember their names, because it becomes like a personal thing between you and them, and it helps you to know why Jesus chose those people, because each of them in their writings preaches and teaches a very unique and distinct way, but you can also see that they deeply knew who Jesus was, and he taught them things that were very, very sacred and very, very private, and that's why he took them alone a lot to tell them stuff. Bartholomew of Cana probably went, this is so dumb, probably went eastward to India. Tradition says that he was flayed alive and afterward crucified with his head downward. The flayed part is probably true because they have statues of him having no skin on, but probably went to India is dumb, because this is what it says for the next one. Thomas preached in Persia after the after history is unknown. That isn't true at all, not even close. Thomas is the one that Jesus told he was going to India, and Thomas told Jesus, no, I am not going to India. You can send anybody that you want there. I can't go there. Remember I had that sick thing that I have? He's talking to Jesus, like, remember that I was sick. Remember I can't go to India. I don't like it there. It's hot. People smell. I don't want to go. That's what he was saying to God. And God said, you're my slave, he said to him. And he saw a guy in the distance that Jesus knew was a person that worked for a king in India that was looking for a carpenter. So he walked up to the guy and he said, my slave over there is looking for work. And he says, he goes, oh, cool, I'm looking for a carpenter. So he says, cool, I'm going to sign him to you. So he signs his document. He says, I, Jesus, son of Joseph the carpenter, sell you my slave, Thomas. And they called Thomas the twin because he looked exactly like Jesus. And Jesus, now mind you, Jesus has already gone up to heaven, and he came back specifically to put Thomas on his road to India. And in India, Thomas comes across a snake that is the snake that was in the garden that Jesus cast out from Adam and Eve and put it in India. And then Thomas encounters it and he kills it. That's not what Bartholomew did. That's what Thomas did. And you would know that, and you would know how he died too, because it tells you in the Acts of Thomas. But they rejected the book for spurious reasons, just like they did to Jesus the man. They rejected the word because they were like, oh, you weren't born of a virgin. Your parents really did this. Oh, I saw you do stuff on the Sabbath, and I saw you do this, and I saw you do that. When I'm saying this stuff, and they put, when I'm telling you the truth right now, because I've read the other books, and then they put this crap in the back of your Bible, and anybody that could have come across that and didn't know that there was a book of the Acts of Thomas, that's your fraud. That's your fraud, and that's why Christianity right now, as it is a fraud. And if you've ever wondered what's wrong with your church, your Baptist church, your, Pentecostal, your Seventh-day Adventist, all these things, is because Jesus wants us to worship him in spirit and in truth. And you can't do that if you don't have the truth, and that's not the truth. Right there. Anyways, Matthew, the publican, a tax collector, author of the gospel, according to St. Matthew, preached in Judea and among foreign nations, time and manner of death uncertain. James, son of Alphaeus, younger brother Jude. Jude, like the one that wrote the book of Jude. Younger brother of Jude, preached at Jerusalem, was thrown from the temple and killed. Jude, called also Lebens, after history unknown. So you're telling me that Jude, the half brother of Jesus and James, that he has no history and that we don't know what happened to him? I call foul on that one. A Canaanite labored in Egypt. Simon, a Canaanite, labored in Egypt and supposed to have been crucified in Judea during the reign of Domitian. Judas, called all. This one's actually interesting. I didn't know this, if it's true. I knew part of it, but I didn't know the way it happened. Judas, called Iscariot, son of Simon, the treasurer of the 12, betrayed Christ, attempted suicide by hanging, but the rope breaking his abdomen was lacerated by the fall, and he died a double death. Very interesting. Okay, so what I just read to you, nobody in this world would ever find. Look how small of print that is, and it's in the back of my Bible. But that's a little heresy right in the back of my Bible that I found earlier today, and just thought I'd share with you what they try to pull over on us. Hold on a second. All right, so going back, and this is all going to tie in. What are we at? Oh, we're only at an hour. Man, that's a good thing. I'm going to read you this whole page, the Bible and the pseudepigraphal literature. So the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, we talked about how they're definitely true in my opinion. It says, the Testament of Solomon, an outlandish tale in which Solomon receives a magical ring from the archangel Michael and uses it to control demons. The book may have been written during the 1st or 2nd century after death. So it literally happened right before Jesus, right after Jesus died. So like 100 to 200 years after Jesus died. It hadn't even reached the 400th year, like year 400, because around the year 400 is when they made all the tribunals to get rid of certain books, which would have been Old Testament Apocrypha. Like the Council of Trent and Nicaea and all the different names of the churches that he tells they're doing a bad job in Revelation. Let me see if this light works. Whoa. Reading desk lights up. I don't know if you can see that. Pretty cool. I use it to draw. Got a thing free on Craigslist. I'm gonna shut it off. Alright, we're good. Alright, so we're in the Epistle of Barnabas right now. And it says this. Hold on one second. The final stumbling block or source of danger approaches, concerning which it is written, as Enoch says, for this end the Lord has cut short the times and the days, that his beloved may hasten, and he will come to his inheritance. And the prophet also speaks thus: 10 kingdoms shall reign upon the earth, and a little king shall rise up after them, who shall subdue under 1/3 of the kings. In like manner Daniel says concerning the same, and I beheld the 4th beast, wicked and powerful. So right there in the Epistle of Barnabas, we also have a mention of Enoch and his prophecy. So I don't understand what the issue is with Enoch, but ascension of Isaiah. And there I saw Enoch and all who were with him, stripped of the garments of the flesh, and I saw them in their garments of the upper world, and they were all like angels standing there in great glory. Deny that book. The Gospel of Bartholomew. In the Greek, 16 through 17, and Beliar said unto Hades, look carefully who it is that, for it is Elias or Enoch or one of the prophets that this man seemeth to be to me. But Hades answered death and said, not yet are 6,000 years accomplished, and whence are these, O Beliar? For the sum of the number is in my hands. So death knows exactly how many days the world has left. And this is from the Slavonic, from Enoch, from the Gospel of Bartholomew. And the devil said unto Hades, why affrightest thou me, Hades? It is a prophet, and he hath made himself like unto God. They're talking about Jesus when he's on the cross. This prophet will we take and bring him hither unto those who think to ascend into heaven. And Hades said, which of the prophets is it then? Show me. Is it Enoch, the scribe of righteousness? But God hath not suffered him to come down upon the earth before the end of 6,000 years. Saith thou that it is Elias the avenger? But before he cometh not down, what shall I do? Whereas the destruction is of God, for surely our end is at hand, for I have the number of years in my hand. Be not troubled, make safe thy gates, and strengthen thy bars. Consider, God cometh not down upon the earth. Hades said unto him, these be no good words that I hear from thee. My belly is rent, and mine inwards parts are pained. It cannot be but that God cometh hither. Alas, whither shall I flee before the face of the power of the great King? He's calling Jesus the great King. So all these people that are saying Jesus isn't God, Satan's calling him God. So you better check yourself, because I don't want to call you dumb, but you're not thinking clearly, because it's stupid. Then did I enter in and scourged him, and bound him with chains that cannot be loosed, and brought forth thence all the patriarchs, and came again unto the cross. Bartholomew said unto him, I saw thee again hanging upon the cross, and all the dead arising and worshipping thee, and going up again into their sepulchres. Tell me, Lord, who was he whom the angels bare up in their hands, even that man that was very great of stature? Jesus answered and said unto him, it was Adam, the first formed, for whose sakes I came down from the heaven upon earth. And I said unto him, I was hung upon the cross for thee and for thy children's sake. And he said, when he heard of it, groaned and said, so was thy good pleasure, O Lord. Again Bartholomew said, Lord, I saw angels ascending before Adam and singing praises. But one of the angels, which was very great above the rest, would not ascend up with them. And there was in his hand a sword of fire, and he was looking steadfastly upon thee only. And all the angels besought him that he would go up with them, but he would not. But when thou didst command him to go up, I beheld a flame of fire issuing out of his hand and going even unto the city of Jerusalem. And Jesus said unto him, blessed art thou, Bartholomew, my beloved, because thou sawest these mysteries. This was one of the angels of vengeance, which stand before my Father's throne. And this angel sent he unto me. And for this cause he would not ascend up, because he desired to destroy all the powers of the world. But when I commanded him to ascend up, there went a flame out of his hand, and rent asunder the veil of the temple, and parted it in two pieces, for a witness unto the children of Israel from my passion, because they crucified me. But the flame which thou sawest issuing out of his hand smote the house of the synagogue of the Jews for a testimony of me wherein they crucified me. Sorry, that was just a Latin parentheses. And when he had thus spoken, he said unto the apostles, tarry for me in this place, for today a sacrifice is offered in paradise. And Bartholomew answered and said unto Jesus, Lord, what is the sacrifice which is offered in paradise? And Jesus said, there be souls of the righteous which today have departed out of the body and go on to paradise, and unless I cuts off. But I think it says, because I've read it before, and unless I be there, they couldn't go, or something like that. And Bartholomew said, Lord, how many souls depart out of the world daily? And Jesus said unto him, 30,000. And this is what I told my brother and he freaked out, and we had a big fight. Bartholomew said unto him, Lord, when thou wast with us teaching the word, didst thou receive the sacrifices in paradise? Jesus answered and said unto him, Verily I said unto thee, my beloved, that I both taught the word with you and continually sat with my Father. You see that right there? What he just said? That's what he said to John when he was in the cave on the cross. It's right here. I'll show you so you can find it for yourself. I'm so hard right now. That was still doing great on time. Jeez. 1 second, guys. Sorry I haven't looked at the chat that much, guys. If new people have come in, it's nice to have you here. I just wanted to read all this. Okay, right here. I'll just show you because I can't find the exact phrase, but this is from the Super Gospel, and this is John's vision of the cross of light that was set up, or it's going to be set up in the underworld, but he saw the cross of light. It's set up in the Gospel of Nicodemus, and all the saints ask Jesus when he goes down to defeat Satan and death to plant a cross in the underworld, because all the brass gates are open right now and they're broken, and Jesus has the keys of hell and death, which is Revelation 1:18. So when he went down there to break the gates of brass, which was prophesied by Isaiah and David, they're just open now, and all the demons are like defeated basically, and they can still attack all of mankind that isn't protected by the blood of Christ. So probably should get covered if you're not. But anyways, it says, I say unto thee, my beloved, that I both taught the word with you and continually sat with my Father. That's what Jesus said. So it's in the vision of the cross of light in the Super Gospel. Bartholomew answered and said unto him, Lord, if 30,000 souls depart out of the world every day, how many souls out of them are found righteous? Jesus said unto him, hardly 50, my beloved. Again, Bartholomew saith, and how do... See, that's a typo or something, because it said, and Jesus said unto him, only 3. And again, Bartholomew saith, and how do 3 only enter into paradise? Jesus said unto him, the 3 enter into paradise or are laid up in Abraham's bosom, but the others go into the place of the resurrection, for the 3 are not like unto... Oh, okay, so that's what it's saying. So it says, sorry for the squeaking in my chair. It says, out of every day, 30,000 people die, and they go. Out of those 30,000, only 53 people go to a place not hell. And out of that, some go to Abraham, the 50 of them go to Abraham's bosom, but 3 of them go to paradise. Does that make sense? Because Abraham's bosom is a place in the underworld, which is not, like, it doesn't go into like the torture part of hell. It's a waiting cell, basically. It's like a holding cell. And that's where all the saints were in the Gospel of Nicodemus, from Adam to the thief on the cross, Jeremiah, Isaiah, all the prophets, everyone. Even, I forget if Joseph the Carpenter was, but I'm pretty sure that it was. Everybody had to go to Abraham's bosom until Jesus came and fulfilled the 5,500-year prophecy that he gave to Adam twice, both in paradise, and then like when they fell, he gave it to him, told him, I'm going to come and save you in 5.5 days. And Adam thought he meant 5.5 literal days. It was 5,500 years. They did the math on it, and they checked, and all the Pharisees like found out that it was true, that he fulfilled the prophecy. And it also was the prophecy of just like Jesus, like their savior coming, like, but that's what the prophecy was. It wasn't just like the way it's produced in the canon. It was like something they all knew, that it was told to Adam. So, one second. I'm not gonna go into that right now. All right. So we got 2 more texts left. I want to show you guys. All right. So that Bible just said that the Testament of Solomon is not a valid book. I'm going to read you this right here. Ready? And I adjured him by the name of the Lord Sabaoth, saying, Fear God, Asmodeus, and tell me by what angel thou art frustrated. But he said, By Raphael, the archangel that stands before the throne of God. But the liver and the gall of a fish put me to flight, when smoked over ashes of the tamarisk. I again asked him, and said, Hide not aught from me, for I am Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. Tell me the name of the fish which thou reverest. And he answered, It is the Galanos by name, and it is found in the rivers of Assyria. Wherefore it is that I roam about in those parts. Pause. 1 second. I knew I forgot to grab them. Bear with me 1 second, guys. Oh. All right. So this is all of my Bibles that have the Apocrypha in it. There might be a couple more, but I think this is the majority of them. So you see that? I'm just showing you so you can see the kinds of Bibles that they are. The Jerusalem Bible, the Geneva Bible, all, those are from like along, the Geneva's 1560, the Jerusalem's I forget when. And then this Bible is from the 1800s, and this is the Catholic Bible. So the reason I'm bringing that out with the Apocrypha is because we need the Apocrypha to go to the book of Tobit. And I gotta find it, hold on. It's kind of hard to find Tobit. Sometimes it's like a smaller book. And just in case, I don't know who's new on here or whatnot, but Apocrypha means hidden. Jesus said, to him who overcomes, he says this in Revelation, to him who overcomes, what? Religion. I will give to eat of the hidden manna. Apocrypha means hidden. Manna is food from heaven. This is spiritual food from heaven, the Holy Spirit. The Third Testament, Matthew 13:33. The woman who put the 3 lumps into a loaf of bread, which is the Word of God, which is Jesus, and she is what makes it rise from the dead on the 3rd day. 3 testaments, 3 days. In the Apocrypha is Ecclesiasticus, which I'll read like 2 seconds of that. It was Moses who ordained him and anointed him with sacred oil in token of the perpetual covenant made with him and with his descendants as long as the heavens endure, that he should be the Lord's minister in the priestly office and bless his people in his name. Yeah, that sounds like it's not the Bible. Daniel, the bell, and the snake. When King Astyages was gathered to his fathers, he was succeeded on the throne by Cyrus the Persian, which is who they say Trump is, actually. Pretty sure. Daniel was a confidant of the king and was honored of all his king's friends. Now the Babylonians had an idol called Bel, for which they provided every day 12 bushels of fine flour, 40 sheep, and 50 gallons of wine. The king held it to be divine and went daily to worship it, but Daniel worshipped his God. That's just like 3 sentences, and that's like from a book that, like, did it anything sound non-scriptural? Nope, not to me. Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon. where we get the armor of God analogy from, that Paul got it from. Hear then, you kings, take this to heart. Learn your lessons, lords of the wide world. Lend your ears, you rulers of multitude, whose pride is in the myriads of your people. It is the Lord who gave you your authority. Your powers come from the Most High. He will put your actions to the test and scrutinize your intentions. Though you are viceroys of his kingly power, you have not been upright judges. You do not stand up for the law or guide your steps by the will of God. Swiftly and terribly will he descend upon you, for judgment falls relentlessly upon those in high place. The small man may find pity and forgiveness, but the powerful will be called powerfully to account. Boom. There you go, Mystery Babylon. Wisdom of Solomon. Clap your hands, all you people. Shout out to God for the voice of triumph. Baruch. The book of Baruch. Jerusalem, strip off your garment of your sorrow and affliction and put on forever the glorious majesty that is the gift of God. Wrap about you his robe of righteousness. Set on your head for a diadem the splendor of the everlasting. For God will show you your radiance to every land under heaven. You shall receive from God forever the name righteous peace, godly splendor. Jerusalem, arise and stand upon the height. Look eastward and see from west to east your children gathered together. And when it says west to east, it's talking about the beginning of time until now. So that's the keys that are in this book, Baruch, and they don't accept it. These are the keys of David. When we're talking about west, north, east, those are signals for like south is hell, north is heaven, west is the past, east is the future. And it even works with like fractional. So like north would be heavenly, west, so northwest would be heavenly in the past. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But anyways, did anything I just said out of the book of Baruch sound like it wasn't the word of God? Sounded exactly like the word of God. Take heart, my people, you who keep Israel's name alive. You were sold to the heathen, but not to be destroyed. It was because you aroused God's anger that you were handed over to your enemies. It's telling you that they worshipped idols and they sacrificed their children to Moloch like they do in Bohemian Grove, and God kicked them out of Israel for it, and they became slaves over here. And that's why Hitler said he wasn't going to take over America, because it had God's jewels in it. That's the Israelites, God's chosen people, the black people, the Hispanic people, the 12 tribes of Israel. It doesn't mean you're special because you're the 12 tribes of Israel. It means God's going to have pity on you and forgive you and bring you under his wing. It doesn't mean that you're supposed to shove it in our faces because you have more melanin in your skin, like the Hebrew Israelites do. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the inside. Clean the inside of the cup. Doesn't matter if the outside is dirty. That's what he told the Pharisees at the temple when they all did the purification process, and all the disciples went in with their dirt and their shoes and everything like that. And Jesus said, you didn't do anything to wash yourself if you did all that stuff. We are clean on the inside and you're filthy on the inside. And you have scorpions and all these other things that represents demons inside of these people. And they listen to the doctrines of demons, as it says in the Epistle of Barnabas, because the food laws are about different kinds of people. It has nothing to do with food. It doesn't have to do with bacon. Like I said before, like you actually think poor people in China that are eating pork because they have no other money, God's going to say you're not welcome in heaven? That's a judgmental thing. That's the kind of thing they did when they were going to throw stones at the woman who was caught in adultery. And Jesus said, I forgive you and sin no more to her. But to them, he said that they're basically guilty because they're committing spiritual adultery because they don't accept Jesus as the only one that can possibly save them. And he is their own king that was prophesied for them. But because he wouldn't save them from the Romans, because he's trying to save the entire world. He's not trying to save these little people that are complaining about their occupation by the Roman, citizens in their country. That's not what he came for. He didn't come to save just the Jews. He came to save everybody. But they rejected him for those reasons, and they chose a murderer over him. That's not fair in my opinion, but everything they did to Jesus, they did to the word, and you can see that that's happening, and it has happened in the past. That's why Jesus saved it for the end of time, so that we could look back on history and be like, oh my gosh, every single thing that happened to him as a 33-year-old man that came in the flesh to save us happened to the actual physical words, because they don't accept like this much. If you were to rip the skin off of a human being's back compared to the rest of their body, that's about how much they took out, right? And it says that no sign will be given to this generation, this wicked generation, except the sign of Jonah. 3 days in the belly of the earth, so was Jonah in the belly of the beast 3 days. That means that Jesus went into the belly of the earth for 3 days and saved all the saints. It's telling you to go look at the Gospel of Nicodemus. But this generation is a wicked generation, so the only sign they're going to get is the sign of Jonah, that Jesus went and did that, and he got the keys of hell and death and saved us all. But people don't know what he's talking about, and they don't accept all those books, so they're totally lost. They're totally lost. They're not alive. They're dead. And that's what Jesus said in the Bible. Let the dead bury the dead. Right? They're all false teachers. They're all teaching doctrines of demons. They're telling you the food laws are about shrimp, and don't eat shrimp, and don't eat lobster, and don't eat pork, and don't eat there's like a whole slew of things on TikTok now. Muslims are teaching, and Hebrew Israelites are teaching about the food laws and like all this stuff. And then you tell them that it says it in the Epistle of Barnabas, and they're like, "Oh, that's not a valid book of the Bible." Barnabas was a Levite and a Essene, and he preached with Paul. How much more do you want a person to do? He was also one of the options for replacing Judas, but the lot went to Matthias. So literally, he was almost replaced Judas, a Levite, an Essene, which is what John the Baptist, Mary, and Jesus were, and he preached with Paul. It doesn't. Do people realize that the people in the Bible are written into the canon for a very, very specific person, and they're all metaphors? Real people that were metaphors. A metaphor within a metaphor. And Jesus couched it that way, so that seeing they might not see, and hearing they might not hear, because they have 2 ears when they should have 1 ear. Combine your earthly ear with your heavenly ear and make one, and complete yourself, and become one with the all, as it says in the Nag Hammadi Codices. Jesus is the all. He is the Alpha and the Omega. He's the beginning and the end. And he knows everything. And if we want to know everything with him that we could possibly find out as human beings on this earth, we need to read the word, and we need to understand that the world existed far before Adam ever existed. The reason God made Adam in his image was to create this whole plan to circumvent the fallen angels. And it says in the Nag Hammadi Codices that the fallen angels are going to try to kill you. If once they find out that you are like going to preach this stuff, they're going to try to kill you. But don't be afraid of the fact that they're going to try to kill you. Once you know this stuff, you are ruling over the all, which the all is that they concocted all of this crap, all of this thousands of years of religious garbage, just to hide the simple truth of the fact that Jesus Christ planned all this stuff from the very beginning. And he schooled these people. He schooled the fallen angels. He disguised himself when he came through the different layers of heaven, and he went right past them, and they didn't even see him. Went right into Mary's stomach, and he went into her stomach, and she was a virgin from the moment that happened until the moment that she died. And why was she a virgin, and why was he a virgin? Is because number one, a virgin has to be a pure sacrifice like that. I mean, a person has to be a pure sacrifice, so you have to be a virgin to be a pure sacrifice. Number two, the sin in the garden was sex. Satan seduced Eve. She desired the angel Samael and created Cain, who was not like Adam, and that's the race of human beings running the world right now. That is why Biden has alien-looking security guards. That's why Obama had alien-looking security guards. It's because they can transform. It says in Jude, certain men crept in unawares. Nobody was aware. They crept in. How could they do that? They tell you in all the X-Men movies, Mystique and all the different characters that can transform, they can change their shape. Jellyfish can transform their color, and you would never see them in camouflage. You can see these people's faces, liquid crystal displays glitching on their face, and all the faces are the same. It's a black and white distortion, like if you smash your phone on a rock. It's the same thing every time. The purest bloods of the elite people can trace their lineage back to Cain, and they can still transform. The ones that can't transform, they have higher technology, and they wear necklaces on their thing right here, and it puts a glitch thing on their face. So we, who can only see like whatever color, just like certain hertz or whatever, like 440 hertz or whatever it is, I don't know, for like visual, only for sound, but like whatever that is, whatever the thing that we can tune into, like, or we can't turn into, and they can, they put something up so we cannot see their faces. That's why Jesus says, walk by faith, not by sight. There's a veil over all of our eyes, all human beings' eyes, and we can't see something behind the veil. That's why they say that Bigfoot has never been seen, is because they go behind the veil. And in my opinion, the Bigfoot are the primitive workers from Atlantis, and they had reptilian overlords back then, and somehow when they escaped to the shores of America and Africa and stuff like that, all the Bigfoots, because they were just like created beings by the fallen angels from Atlantis and Mu and all that. So like basically, picture this, right? You're in jail, you escape, and then your jail people that like crash landed with you or whatever in a bus or something like that, like the guards, they chase after you, and wherever you landed, they chased you, and then they take over again and become your prison masters wherever you landed too. That's what happened, in my opinion. There are like a few reptilians that survived Atlantis, and they live behind the veil. You can't see them, and the primitive workers are controlled by them. Bigfoots are controlled by reptilians. And you don't have to believe what I'm saying. But why does Hunter Biden have a tattoo on his back of the Finger Lakes in New York, where almost all of the missing 411 cases happen? I'm just asking. Why is his name Hunter? And did anybody ask that question? I'm just saying. What does a hunter do? I'm just saying. I'm not saying nothing except, like, I don't know. The stories that Zen used to tell about Credo Mutwa and the cave systems in Africa and human beings being taken into these cave systems by other humans that all of a sudden put them on a table, transform into reptilians. The woman screams, "Jesus, save us," and the reptilians run away. That's a story by Credo Mutwa, who talks about all the ancient times where the spaceships landed and stuff like that. Guys, this is the whole plan. The demonic kingdom is in the ocean, and they want you to think that they're coming from space. So you can just go like over here, come up out of the ocean, come up over here, boom, we're aliens. It's like the dumbest trick. And the only way they pulled it off was, one, faking the moon landing so you think we can get to space, and two, they pumped it into our brains since like birth by making movies like Independence Day and every other alien movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And who made those movies? Producers that are Satanists, that sacrifice children and like have the Red Shoe Club where they like make shoes out of little kids' skins that they sacrifice. I mean, this is like common basic knowledge on TikTok. Like I've been telling this stuff for like 10 or 15 years because I listened to it from Zen, and then I researched it on my own. And kids are just coming up with this stuff right now that they're finding out. And some of these kids, the stuff that they get into, the investigative stuff that they get into on conspiracy theories, man, I'm like blown away at this stuff that these kids get into, but it's all factual, man. It's all true. It's like because I know what they're talking about from before when I research it, and I'm like, wow, they're like unbelievable down the rabbit hole. I can't believe it. So anyway, tangent number 1. So I'm opening the English Standard Version, but I think I might do that. Hold on, let me see the difference between the two. And I got these out. I'll show you guys real quick. We're only at 1 hour and 30. It's not bad. This is once again the Catholic 10 Commandments. You can see they took out the one about idol worship and they replaced it with 2 coveting ones at the bottom, 9 and 10. So you want to check that out. Pretty cool picture though. But this is super old Bible. I don't even know what kind it is. It says Holy Bible on the side. But it's kind of like wrecked a little bit, like all the pages are dark. But at least it's readable, because the Geneva Bible is kind of hard to read because it says like, see, you can read it like pretty good, but the what's that one? Oh, I had it in my hands. Sorry. The New English Bible with Apocrypha is pretty good, but the Geneva Bible, where did I just put that? Well, I must not have brought it in, I guess. But yeah, the Geneva Bible is hard to read because all the S's look like F's, so like it like throws my mind for a loop. 1 second. Oh, wait, we're on the Apocrypha. Good. I'll show you in this. I was gonna show you. I probably showed it before, but kind of cool. Oh, I never seen this. I didn't even look at it. Pretty cool picture. Jesus in the crown of thorns. That's the introduction to the New Testament. Oh, this is cool. So these are handwritten genealogies from the 1800s. I don't know if you can see that. (1857, 1867, 1901, 1782). Jeez, I didn't see that. So I'm going to Tobit right now. Yep, Tobit. It's a lot easier to do it online because you can hit Control Find and just type in the word you're trying to match up with another book, and it does it for you. But I'm gonna look in the book because I know where it is. I think. All right, so we're in Tobit. Just so you like know what Tobit's about, I'll just read the beginning. The book of the words of Tobit, son of Tobiel, the son of Ananiel, the son of Aduel, the son of Gabriel, the son of Asiel, the tribe of Naphtali. Naphtali is one of the 12 tribes of Israel. They said Naphtali was so fast that he could run on the top of corn and it wouldn't break. Let's see. Who in the time of Enemessar, king of the Assyrians, was led captive out of Thisbe, which is at the right hand of that city, which is called properly Naphtali in Galilee, above Asir. I, Tobit, have walked all the days of my life in the way of truth and justice, and I did my way. I did many alms deeds to my brethren and my nation who came with me to Nineveh, into the land of the Assyrians. And when I was in my own country, in the land of Israel, being but young, all the tribe of Naphtali, my father, fell from the house of Jerusalem, which was chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, that all the tribes should sacrifice there, where the temple of the habitation of the Most High was consecrated and built for all ages. Now all the tribes which together revolted, and the house of my father Naphtali sacrificed unto the heifer Baal. But I alone went often to Jerusalem at the feast, as it was ordained unto all the people of Israel by an everlasting decree, having the first fruits and tenths of increase, with which was first shorn. And when I gave it at the altar to the priests, the children of Aaron, the first 10th part of all the increase I gave to the sons of Aaron, who ministered at Jerusalem. Another 10th part I sold away, and went and spent it every year at Jerusalem. And the third I gave unto them to whom it was needy, as Deborah my father's mother had commanded me, because I was left an orphan by my father. Furthermore, when I was come to age of a man, I married Anna of mine own kindred, and of her I beget Tobias. All right. So Tobias, his son, is who this book is really about. Tobit the dad gets a blindness in his eye from having a bird crap in his eye because he leaned back because he was tired, and he just got out of jail for burying dead people that were Israelites, because it was against the law to do that, because they were trying to prove a point that they were scum or something. So they got mad at him for burying people, put him in jail. As soon as he got out, he's burying people again, and some guy's like, "Are you serious? You just got out of jail for that." So he lays back, gets a bird, craps in his eye, and he gets this disease, he goes blind. So he sends his son Tobias on a mission to go get some money that he had saved with somebody else that was far away. And turns out that land that he's going to, there's a girl, and she's being tortured by a demon who is this demon from the Testament of Solomon. The demon's name is Asmodeus, Asmodeus. And that's what I just read to you. And I adjourned him by the name of the Lord Sabaoth, saying, Fear God, Asmodeus, and tell me by what angel thou art frustrated. And this is when Solomon called up all the demons from the ocean. That's why I'm telling you this, that the demonic world is in the ocean. God gave Solomon a pentacle ring. It looks like the pentacle, that witches use now to call up demons. Gave it to him to protect the children of Israel. The demon comes up, and the first demon comes up and tells him that the only thing that smotes him is the angel Raphael, which is one of the 4 angels that stand at the face of God, and the liver and gall of a certain fish. So isn't that amazing that Jesus Christ put certain animals in this world that he put here for the service of letting us thwart demons? Thank you, I appreciate that. I was supposed to do a show with Robert Farrell last night, but we're actually doing it this Saturday. So if anybody gets a chance, check out the show me and Robert do pretty soon, like this weekend. One second. So, all right, here we go. So the prayers of them both were heard before the majesty of the great God. The girl was praying because all of her husbands were being murdered by that demon Asmodeus. They were being strangled in the nighttime. So every 6 guys that she was about to marry, all 6 of them were strangled. So she's praying God would save her, and then Tobias is praying that he'll be safe on the journey. So Raphael was sent to heal them both. That is, to scale away the whiteness of Tobit's eyes, and to give Sarah, the daughter of Raguel, for a wife to Tobias, the son of Tobit. And to bind Asmodeus, the evil spirit, because she belonged to Tobias by right of inheritance. So right there, a fallen angel, a demon, is trying to stay and be with a human girl. That is what is in Enoch. And it's still happening in Tobit, and it's still happening in the Testament of Solomon. The self-same time came Tobit home and entered into the house, and Sarah, the daughter of Raguel, came down from her upper chamber. In that day, Tobit remembered the money which he had committed to Gabael in rages of Midia. So Tobit, the dad, remembered he had gold somewhere. And he said within himself, I have wished for death, wherefore do not call for my son Tobias, that I may signify to him of the money before I die. And when he had called him, he said, My son, when I am dead, bury me and despise not thy mother, but honor her in all the days of thy life, and do not which shall please her and grieve her not. Or do that which shall please her and grieve her not. It's actually one of the 10 Commandments too. Jesus actually says that too. When your mother's old, don't despise her. Remember, my son, that she saw my dangers for thee when thou wast in her womb. Oh, she saw many dangers for thee when thou was in her womb, and when she is dead, bury her by me in one grave. My son, be mindful of the Lord God all thy days, and let not thy will be set to sin or to transgress his commandments. Do uprightly all thy life, and follow not the ways of the unrighteous. For if thou deal truly, thou doing shall prosperously succeed to thee and to all them that live justly. So then he sent him on his way. Tobias and Raphael are going on their way, and they're coming up to a river. And says, after these things, Tobias went his way, promising God that he had given him a prosperous journey, and blessed Raguel and Edna his wife, and went on his way till they drew near unto Nineveh. Then Raphael said to Tobias, Thou knowest, brother, how thou didst leave thy father. Let us haste before thy wife and prepare thy house. Take in thy hand the gall of the fish. So they went their way, and the dog went after them. Now Anna sat looking about toward the way for her son. One second. Then said Raphael, I know, Tobias, that thy father will open his eyes. Therefore anoint thou his eyes with the gall, and being pricked with therewith he shall rub, and the whiteness shall fall away, and he shall see thee. 1 second. So, number one, that gall that is used is a way to cure blindness, but that gall is also used to thwart the demon Osmodeus. So it has a two-part purpose. So it's amazing that God used something that was bad for Tobit, and he already had the plan in mind to cure it and also save the girl from one fish, which is interesting. I just thought of that. The one fish. One second. The one fish is actually the metaphor for the one true doctrine. Hold on a second. Oh no, it might be back here. Hold on a second, guys. Oh, here we go. 170. Thank goodness you put a glossary in here. This is from the Gospel of Thomas 8. And he said, the true human is like a wise fisherman who cast his net into the sea and pulled it out full of little fish. The discerning fisherman spotted a large fish, a choice fish, among them. He threw all the smaller ones back into the water and had no trouble in choosing the large. Anyone here with two good ears should hear. So that's a metaphor using the two ears, which is like this way that you bring your earthly and your spiritual understanding into one, and you understand that Jesus was couching everything in a metaphor. And it just says that right here with the one fish. Instead of all the different fish, all the denominations, you have one fish, which is the true meaning of the Gospels. And I never realized that in the Testament. I mean, in Tobit, there's only one fish that cures the blindness, and it cures the demonic possession, the doctrine of demons, if you will. That's very interesting. I never even thought about it that way. Anyways, hold on. And when thou didst not delay to rise up and leave thy dinner to go over and cover the dead, thy good deed was not hid from me, but I was with thee. And now God hath sent me to heal thee and Sarah thy daughter-in-law. I am Raphael, one of the seven holy angels which present the prayers of the saints, and which go in and out before the glory of the Holy One. Then they were both troubled and fell upon their faces, and they feared. So I just want to read you that that Tobit was visited by the angel Raphael, and that matches the Testament of Solomon, because it's interesting that in the Testament of Solomon, the demon is thwarted by two things: the angel Raphael and the gall of the fish. And in Tobit, the angel Raphael comes and he uses the gall of the fish. It's two things in both books. It's just interesting to me. In another version of this, which I don't even know if this is King James or what, in another version of this, it goes into great, like, seemingly more detail about the gall of the fish. Maybe I just am not reading the online version. Hold on one second. Okay, here we are. So we're in chapter 6 of Tobit. And Tobias went forward, and the dog followed him, and he lodged the first night by the river Tigris. And he went out to wash his feet, and behold, the monstrous fish came up to devour him. So this is a huge fish. And Tobias, being afraid of him, cried out with a loud voice, saying, Sir, he cometh upon me. And the angel said to him, Take him by the gill, and draw him to thee. And when he had done so, he drew him out upon the land, and he began to pant before his feet. Then the angel said to him, Take out the entrails of the fish, and lay upon his heart and his gall and his liver for thee, for these are necessary for useful medicines. So most people would say that was witchcraft, right? That type of stuff. Like, so, honestly, that's what most people would say. Like, if you went to Africa, and like a medicine man was like taking the fish guts out and mixing it with all the stuff and like burning it, you'd be like, oh, that's witchcraft. But what people don't realize is that the 7 sciences taught to Adam's line and Cain's line, which are mentioned in Gary Wayne's Genesis 6 conspiracy, and it's also mentioned in, I think, the Legends of the Jews and another book I can't think of, because Irad, which was one of the 7 patriarchs on Cain's line, he was like 4th in line or something like that, super evil. God told him that he was going to die a horrible death for his sins if he didn't teach the 7 sciences to Adam's line, because they were lost to Adam's line, and it was causing them to be hurt by the other line because they were becoming way more like intelligent than them as far as things they needed. And so Irad taught it back to Adam's line. Then Jesus said, take Noah, take Nama, Irad's like niece or something, or daughter. He said, take Nama, who is of the cursed seed, with you on the ark, so that both lines will be preserved until the end. And that's why it's been that way till this day. So you say, God, why wouldn't you just kill them all? Because this is a judgment, and we're here to show our worth. You put 2 people from 2 different places next to each other, and you like see what they're gonna do. This is Cain's line. This is the production. This is the children of the devil. This is what they're gonna do. These are my kids. Some of them screwed up and they used to follow the devil, but because of my grace, I'm going to forgive them, and they work for me now. And this is what they're going to do for me when they work for me. And look at the righteousness inside of these dirty vessels that I cleaned out. And look at what your kids are doing, Satan. Right? I mean, it's straight up. I don't know. That's how I feel. So I'm going to go back into the Testament of Solomon real quick, but, I got to go to the Gospel of Bartholomew real quick too. Oh man, there's so much. I wanted to read this stuff in the section of Isaiah. I wanted to read too. second. We got like 10 minutes left of the show. I'm gonna just like read some stuff real quick. If you want to check this out when you have time, in the book, The Ascension of Isaiah, and in the third book of Enoch, it tells you about where we get our garments and our crowns and stuff like that. So if you want to check that out, it says here, and I said to the angel, whose are these garments and thrones and crowns? And he said unto me, these garments many from that world will receive, believing in the words that the one who shall be named as I told thee, and they will observe those things and believe in him and believe in his cross. For them are these laid up. Sounds pretty on point with the canon to me. And this is God talking to Jesus. Go forth and descend through all the heavens, and thou wilt descend to the firmament, and that world to the angel in Sheol thou wilt not descend, but to Hagoel thou wilt not go. Oh, to Sheol thou wilt descend, but to Hagoel thou wilt not go. So what he's saying, God is saying to Jesus, you're going to go down from the seventh heaven, from his throne, God's throne, through 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you get to 1, that's where the demons are, and they didn't even notice Jesus. All the other layers of heaven, Jesus had to give a passcode, and he transformed himself in the different likeness of all the different angels in the different levels, because they're brighter as you go up. So he's coming down, he's changing his brightness, and he's wearing like their appearance to make them look like them. Gets to the bottom, the evil angels are all fighting, didn't even notice him. Jesus went right down, right into Mary's stomach, lived 33 years perfectly, died on the cross for our sins, went down to Sheol, and saved Adam until the thief on the cross. They came out, planted his cross of light in the underworld, defeated Satan and death, took the keys of hell and death, Revelation 1:18. Coming out of paradise, they see Enoch and Elijah. They say, we didn't die, we're going to fight the Antichrist. All the saints go up to paradise and see the angel with the flaming sword. Thief on the cross is the first one to all the places, because Jesus said, you will be in paradise before me, or whatever. And all that stuff really happened. And it's all in the books, it all matches up. All the books I read all the time to everybody, all these books match up with each other. It's like, honestly, like this is all the proof I would ever need is his word. I'll take him at his word. But most people, they read it and like, oh, I don't know, that came out a couple hundred years after. I don't know if it's valid anymore. It's not valid. Enoch isn't a prophet. I don't like that. Enoch is this is what people say. Enoch is a very evil book. Yeah, Cain's son Enoch was evil. Enoch, seventh from Adam, was so righteous he got to leave Earth early and get a do not pass go, do not collect $200 card to go to heaven, and nobody else did except Elijah. So it's doing pretty good in my book. I don't know. Hope I'm in his book. Hope I'm on the good side. So it says, on account of this is the ascension of Isaiah. On account of these visions and prophecies, Samael, Satan, sawed in sunder Isaiah, the son of Amos, the prophet, by the hand of Manasseh. And all these things Hezekiah delivered to Manasseh in the 26th year. But Manasseh did not remember them, nor place these things in his heart, but becoming the servant of Satan, he was destroyed. Here endeth the vision of Isaiah the prophet with his ascension. So all you have to read is that ending, like this ending where in this book, this is the book that tells you that Isaiah was cut in half the long way, and as he's being cut in half, even up until his toes, the Holy Spirit is speaking through him. So he's fully cut in half. His guts are hanging out all the way down his body. He's cut in half with a wooden saw or whatever. And he's like prophesying in the Holy Ghost, even though his body's cut in half. This is the book that tells you that it's a factual, historical thing that the prophet Isaiah was cut in half the long way. And there is a book called The Tuning Fork that tells you that the Bible was supposed to be 66 books, and God made it that way because he said that he has two stones. And the devil said, take these two stones and make them bread. And Jesus said, no, man doesn't live on bread alone, but every word. So God, man doesn't live just on the bread. We need the meat also. And the meat of it is what they stripped off of Jesus's back. They took all the meat out so that all of us are starving. So what does Jesus say? Feed the hungry, feed the people that are starving. What did he do? He fed the 5,000. He fed them with barely any food. That's the thing, is you could literally read one book of the Apocrypha forever and be filled with the Spirit of God. It just fills you up. I'm just saying, I love all the canonical books. I grew up with them. They're in my soul. But why did Job get tortured for so long like that? It doesn't seem fair, God. Oh, because there's another book, the Testament of Job. What's that about? Oh, it tells you that the reason he was tested is because he destroyed an idol that was inhabited by Satan. You mean Satan and demons go into idols? Yeah. That's where they live. They live in idols. That's why God said don't make them, because you were made in God's image, and when he made you, Satan was jealous. So he said he wanted to be better than God and make his own world and stuff like that because he hated you so much. Oh, so he hates my image. So that's why he hates God's image. That makes sense. So that's why he killed the Son of God who was also in the image of God. That makes sense. I get it. But I don't know about Enoch because it talks about like fallen angels and stuff like that. It doesn't really talk about fallen angels in the Bible that much. Yeah, it does. It says in Genesis 6 that the daughters of men were beautiful, and the fallen angels came down and had sex with them, and they created giants, not the children of Seth. That doesn't happen. Human and human interaction doesn't make giants that are 3,000 ells tall, which is 22 inches by 3,000, which is like a mile high. And you don't have to believe that, but Og of Bashan, the giant, who was in 5 books of the Bible and 22 verses of the Bible, just the canon, said that he could drink from the clouds, but he was shrinking. And then we find out in the canon later in the books that his bedside was 12 feet tall. So he went from drinking from the clouds to 12 feet tall. So he was shrinking. Talks about dragons worshiping Jesus in the Super Gospel, which is the Sibylline Oracles and all the other books. And then it also says that in David's writings, and he was prefiguring that Jesus would be worshipped at 3 years old by dragons as he's leaving to flee to Egypt. Also says that Jesus healed people that were suffering from transformations of their body into donkeys from humans because witches did it to them. That means witches had power back then to transform people, and Jesus had the antidote. Says that Mary, Joseph, and Jesus were traveling through Egypt, and Mary was thirsty. A tree that was a fig tree was told by Jesus to bend down and give her some fruit, and then he said raise back up when she was done eating. And then they were thirsty, so a brook of water came out of the bottom of the tree. Jesus said, thank you, tree, for doing this. Because you've done this, an angel will come and take one of your branches, and anybody who overcomes in this life will be given the branch of, I forget what it's called, like the palm branch of like championhood or something, I don't know, something like that. I forget the word. And then in, I think it's 3rd Enoch or one of the books, one of the parts of the Super Gospel, you find out, never mind that Jesus had Palm Sunday and all the palms are saying Hosanna because he's Jesus and like he's a conqueror basically of the demonic realms. Same thing's going to happen for us when we get to heaven. We get our crowns and they give us a palm branch from that same tree that he gave to Mary. It's like all the stuff matches up. The demonic kingdom is in the ocean, so we don't explore the ocean. We explore fake space and make up movie studios with Stanley Kubrick faking the moon landing, and all these people that were planning the moon landing, now that they're on their deathbed, they're like, oh, put on my tombstone all the memory verses that say that the earth is, that God is real and that his earth is as he says it is, so it'll take him at his word when he says something, and that he says that the earth is firm on its foundations. He says that the earth never moves. In fact, the first rule is that the earth never moves. And you could say like these things don't matter and we shouldn't fight about it, and who cares if the earth's flat. It's just important. If I told you right now that my house was round but it's really square, number one, I'd be lying to you. And number two, it's not the truth. Like it's not the truth. So, for instance, if I tell you my house is round but it's square, you might have brought me furniture in here and it doesn't fit in my place because I said something that wasn't true. That principle goes into every single thing of life, including this. You know what I'm saying? So that's why Jesus says, don't, like when the disciples asked him, like, how should we fast and how should we pray? Jesus said, don't do what you hate. He's not talking to them, he's talking to us. And he's saying, don't lie and don't do what you hate. That's not an answer to how should we. He's saying, sorry, disconnected because I'm at 2 hour mark. He's not saying like he's basically telling the disciples, which is us. He's saying, like, that's not what I care about. I'm not really concerned with you fasting and praying and all that stuff. Like he is, but he's saying like the more important thing is to like. You know what I'm saying? Modern day people have taken his word and turned it into a big lie. Because when you omit something, that's a lie. When you purposely omit something, it's a lie. So when he says don't lie and do what you hate, obviously if we knew that we had more books that he wants us to know about, yet it's been subjugated for this long, then definitely don't be a part of that subjugation. Don't be part of the churchianity that is teaching the doctrines of demons. Because if it wasn't, why is there Baptist? Why is there Southern Baptist? Why is there Episcopal? Why is there non-denominational? Why is there Catholic? Why is there Gnostics? Why, you know, all these different denominations of people that believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God, but then they change up all these different things and rules and things because they don't have the Epistle of Barnabas that tells you that the food laws are really about people, because that would cause that whole argument of 2 billion people thinking you can't eat pork to just go out the window. Not only that, but it's been taught to us as a lie since almost the beginning of time, since we were like the people of the Bible were sand dwellers. So this is kind of crazy. I live in New Hampshire. It's just an off-topic tangent, but I live in New Hampshire, and they just closed the Saint Gobain factory in Merrimack, New Hampshire. They made all the fabric for the Denver airport that is the Denver airport that looks like tents, because the people that Joshua led into the land were not the true Israelites. They were not their brothers. Jesus said, pray before you do anything. He didn't pray, and he didn't do what God said. He let people into the land. They became the Levitical priesthood, and that's Caius and Antipas who killed Jesus. And those people have perpetuated the lie since those times. They were nomadic people, and that's why the tents are over the Denver airport, and these people are the Khazarian Jews, the people of the Ukraine. That's what this is all about right now. And if that ain't true, why is the Antichrist funneling so much money into the Ukraine and giving the people in Hawaii $700 a household? And why did Madame Abramovich, the satanic priestess who's really a guy, Anderson Cooper's supposedly dead brother, or sister, yeah, brother turned sister, and why did she, who does like satanic like blood rituals and stuff, why did she make a black wailing wall with crystals sticking out of it in the Ukraine? It's bad enough that the Jews are wailing at a wall that was created by demons in the Testament of Solomon, but why on earth would somebody make a wall that's black with white crystals in it and touch each and every one of the crystals and say it's like their wailing wall. It makes no sense if you don't equate it to what it's equatable to, which is the devil, which is Samael, which is Satan, which is Mastodon, which is Saklos, which is 100,000 names, and none of them mean good things. Exactly. Love Yeshaya. So I hope that was helpful, guys. I hope it was a good show, and I got through almost all the content that I wanted to, which is surprising. There's a couple more things I could have gone through, but this is kind of important. I want to read this next time from the Arco volumes. It's just somebody sees Peter and John. These are all first-hand accounts of the Gospels and what happened to Jesus and the disciples, and told by different points of view. And one of them is a thing that we read in the canon, I believe, when John and Peter are arrested for preaching the gospel. But this guy sees it happen from the streets, and then he also sees them when they get out of jail, and they're all ecstatic and happy. And Peter goes into a discourse of why Christians... Oh, no problem, Don, thank you. Why Christians believe what they believe, and it gives you like a metaphorical analogy of why God sent Jesus and why we go through this life, and how we are meant to understand salvation and what he did for us and stuff like that. And it's a very, very basic breakdown of that. I'll do that on my next show, and it's pretty powerful. So I read every day, and I'm always highlighting stuff and bringing stuff together in my notes. So next time I get a good amount of stuff together, I'll do another live show. Probably it won't be long, because I'm just gonna start doing this like all the time. So again, like I used to. Oh, and I gotta show you guys my house real quick. Oh. All right, hold on. I just want to show you one thing on TikTok real quick, and then I'll take you on a tour of the house real quick on the downstairs. Upstairs is just like 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, and like a long room on the back of the house. Hold on, my thing's like frozen. Oh, if you have my phone number, 603-401-3267, that still works, but only when I'm home with Wi-Fi, because I got a new phone number, because like my phone plan was trying to like screw me over, so I just canceled it and got prepaid. Hold on a second. Hold on. Oh, here we go. I guess.
Asteroid strike is expected September 23rd. In the movie Seeking a Friend for the End of the World, an asteroid strikes September 23rd. Julia, a meteor strikes September 23rd. Knowing, solar flare strikes September 22nd, lasting until September 23rd. Little Shop of Horrors, humans are threatened by an event, September 23rd. Tomorrowland, disaster strikes September 23rd. 23, hell will arrive September 23rd. Sleepy Hollow, a dimension opens up September 23rd. Ghostbusters, evil is released on September 23rd. This is the end. 9/23 is the date the rapture happens. Pandemic, outbreak starts September 23rd. Either fake aliens, fake Carrington event, or fake asteroid, September 2023. TV show Big Bang Theory, an asteroid strike is expected September 23rd.
Alright, so I just wanted to show you that quick so you can get an idea what I'm talking about. I already told you I dreamed this a long time ago. Something's going to happen around the fall time. I didn't know which year it was going to be. Obviously, it wasn't last year. So, I mean, look at the way the world's going right now. We're like ripe for something like this. So, thank you, Amy. I appreciate it. Let's go on the house tour real quick, guys. Yeah, we're good. So everything you see in here was like bare bones, like garbage flooring. I installed all this flooring, installed this door. It's kind of like a mess right now, but it's kind of cool. I did old ceilings. I painted all that. This is a LVL. We did all the sheetrock mud. Painted all these walls. I can't point my finger the right way. But yeah, I installed that toilet. There's a little cubby over here, as you can see, like that. So I did all the sheetrock mud. Hold on a second. So come in here. All right. This is my kitchen. My boss designed the ceiling and this lights and all that. And this is like kind of backwards looking. It's not how it actually looks, but like in real life, it's much prettier. But they installed all the granite and appliances and all that stuff. And yeah, thank you, I appreciate it. But yeah, this was all brown before. I had to do like 10 coats of paint for it to work. This was actually open. I found this on the side of the road and ripped it all apart and designed this. But it's got like a flap up here, like that. It's kind of cool. Well, I love the patina on it. It's an old cabinet. So you got this old chimney that doesn't work, but it looks cool. They bought this stove, and the room. You actually have to go in a room to use the refrigerator. They have their own room for a refrigerator in here. But that's pretty nice. And there's a small basement. Have our own garage now, which is nice. And I would just like to say thank you to God, because I didn't even ask for none of this. My boss just decided to ask me and my wife if we wanted to live here. I did all this floor, which sucked because I had to do this transition strip right here. And they gave us a brand new washer and dryer. And this room is where we actually had all of our stuff when we first moved in. But we moved it all out so I could redo this room. The ceiling's done. I'm painting these beams because they were kind of ugly. And there's like a cubby hole around this corner. So like a little cubby hole back there. But this room is actually really big. You can't really tell, but most of my books are right there. But yeah, all our antiques and everything we have is everywhere. Let me show you outside. It's gonna be kind of dark up, but hold on. Oh, I didn't even realize it was raining out. But yeah, so nice porch outside. Can't really see across the street, but there's a fountain and stuff right there. But yeah, there's my garage. Pretty nice. Just put new doors on the other day. And yeah, I'll take you guys out back when I do a daytime show, so you can see it's really pretty. Beautiful sunsets and stuff. But yeah, I'll give you a better tour later on. Just wanted you guys to check it out. I live actually way closer to the White Mountains now. Thank God for that. But yeah, these all these Bibles, they don't have the Apocrypha in it. The Dartmouth, the Geneva, this one, all these King James, which is kind of sad because I think all Bibles should have the Apocrypha in it. But guys, thank you so much for coming tonight. It was nice to see you all again. I'm gonna read the comments and everything in the chat after. I'll try to respond if I can. Yeah, I know it is raining. I never thought about the rain being a blessing. I guess in California and other places, maybe you don't get as much rain. We've gotten a ton of rain this year. But yeah, very nice to talk to everybody. It was nice to hear everybody in the chat again, even though I wasn't on it a lot. But miss you guys. And like I said, you can email me still if you need anything. Texting, you can still, or you can call me too on my old phone number, because it's mostly here at home. But call me like after 5 p.m. Eastern time. Usually I'm home from work. Otherwise, the call won't probably go through. And I'll put my new number on here next time. I just forget what it is right now. I don't feel like going through my phone. Oh, wow, that's crazy, Dorothy. I didn't know that. Amy, thank you. Lynn, love Yashaya. I can't say that right. Dawn, thank you. Rodney Jordan, thanks. If anybody's still here. But God bless you guys. Thank you for coming. Like I said,